What really surprises me is the amount of people who don't realise that fat loss is accrued via the amount of calories within the food, not the amount of food that you're eating. For example, I've heard so many times from people them saying something along the lines of, I hardly eat much, so I don't know why I'm not losing weight. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how little you eat. If the amount of calories you're eating is too high relative to what you're burning off, you're not going to lose fat. And in actual fact, you're probably going to gain fat in that case. Let me show you an example. What we have here is 100 calories worth of popcorn. As you can see, I filled the bowl with it. Now, there's a relatively decent amount of food there. Probably not going to fill you up for too much because it's popcorn at the end of the day. There's not many nutrients in it, but you get the idea. Now, what we're going to compare that to is 100 calories worth of oil. Now, as you can see, the volume of food is completely different. If you're eating literally just oil, then firstly, you're going to feel like absolute shit. Why the fuck are you drinking just oil? And secondly, you're consuming less food. That is going to take up way less space in your stomach, which means that you're going to be consuming less food and therefore you're going to be more hungry, but you're actually going to be intaking the same amount of calories than if you consume popcorn. Now, let's say theoretically someone just ate popcorn all day. They'd be eating more food than you, but way less calories. Because if you ate the equivalent in volume of oil, you'd be intaking way more calories than if you just ate the popcorn. It'd be taking up way less space in your stomach. So what you need to understand is it doesn't really matter how little you're eating, because the volume of food and the amount of food and the quantity of food doesn't really matter from a fat loss perspective. What matters is the amount of calories in the food. The idea of creating a calorie deficit isn't to eat as little as possible. The idea of a calorie deficit is actually the complete opposite. It's eat as much as possible while still remaining in a calorie deficit. Because if you try to eat as little as possible whilst trying to be in a calorie deficit, I'm getting sick of saying calorie deficit now, then you are going to be fucking starving. You're going to be so hungry because you're not eating that much food. And hunger is signaled through the amount of food in your stomach rather than necessarily how many calories you're intaking. So you need to find ways of eating more food but less calories. Add some more veg to your meals that you're making. Switch some of the foods to their low fat versions or their light versions, because that way you're going to be eating less calories or the same amount of calories for more food, because less of it is fat and therefore less of it is calorie dense. Stop adding as much calorie dense items to your diet. So for example, instead of using vegetable oil, just use 1 calorie olive oil spray. You know, the ones that you can get from Aldi. Frylight, I think the original is, but obviously we're not all made of money. You need to try and be eating more food but less calories. So if you're currently in a position whereby you feel like you don't eat much anyway, then okay, cool. Eat more but less calories, because that is the issue that you're running into. You're eating too many calories and therefore you cannot lose fat. Volume of food is different to calories in food. Calories is the thing that drives fat loss, and volume of food is the thing that drives hunger. So increase the volume of food whilst keeping your calories kind of low. That is how you consistently lose fat whilst also not being a miserable, hungry mess. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. If you got any questions that you want to ask me, please feel free to ask them below, because I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. And if you want to check out any more free fitness or fat loss based content without any of the bullshit as always, then make sure that you're either following my Instagram at k.p_health or subscribe to this channel. Peace.